it's pretty crazy that you can almost kind of train yourself to focus on positive elements of shitty situations or whatever. Like, so like one time I got cheated on. And she told me, and I sat with this horrible news, and then I legitimately went, well, I'm glad you had a good night. I was able to like see the positive in this still or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. Like,
the following is a podcast with Marc Hallworth. He's a stand-up comedian, a theater actor, a sketch writer and performer, an improviser, and my teacher here at Humber College. In the conversation, we talk about using comedy as a tool to make the incomprehensible palatable. In English terms, that means turning tragedy to triumph through comedy. You can find the light in any negative situation. I hope you enjoy the podcast. What up, fools? This is the Joe Pedrosa podcast. Today I'm here with Marc Hallworth.
yeah, fools. Fucking, how foolish are you for listening to this?
My podcast used to be called Unaverage Fools. Like, my name on YouTube used to be called Unaverage Joe, because I thought it was kind of funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, but then after I read this thing about just using your own name is just better. Mm-hmm. So then I changed it to Joe Pedrosa podcast, Joe Pedrosa. But I still use What Up Fools. Stay on Average Fools is my thing.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'm here with Marc Hallworth. He's my teacher here. I'm studying comedy right now, the comedy program. Mm-hmm. And this is your first year teaching, right?
No, it's my second.
Oh, it's your second?
Yeah.
Okay. So what have you learned so far as a teacher? What was your experience like working at Humber?
That's a good question. My favorite part about it is to try to think about what you need to like be around in comedy, I suppose. So like I think I've told you this story before. Like one time, I'll leave it nameless, but this guy had like a comedy festival, and then he taught a class as well, I guess. And the cool thing about doing his class is that it's like 6 weeks long, and then your showcase or whatever is the first day of his festival. So I was on this festival, and I went to watch, and literally it's like, these are the students, everybody, from my class. So ladies and gentlemen, go crazy for your first act, Johnny Ding Dong. And then he grabbed the mic, Johnny Ding Dong went, hey, whoa, this fucking thing is loud. And then I was like, okay. And then the next person's like, whoa, these lights are bright. And then the third person is getting lit and is like, fuck you, what's that light back there? And I was like, in the crowd being like, what the hell did you teach these people? They have no idea what like a stage looks like or a light or any of these kinds of things. So I'm just trying to avoid that stuff of like, I'd hate for you to be out in the world and then somebody's like, hey, the list is out at 5. And you're like, what's a list? And they're like, didn't you do Hallworth's class? Like, what the hell did he teach you? Over
So you're learning more of the, you want to teach more of the technical aspects of production.
And writing stuff. Like if you didn't know what a tag was or something, these kinds of terms, and then that would be humiliating. Like what kind of, you know what a tag is? Like,
what do you think makes something funny? Like as this teacher of stand-up, you know, at least for me, I'm just like so... I have self-doubt sometimes still, you know? And even if you want to talk about self-doubt for a little bit, if you feel that
Never,
as well.
I am 100% correct about everything all the time.
You know? Because you mentioned earlier in the semester not tying your ego with your work. You know what I mean? Because you're just like, if you bomb on stage, it doesn't like devalue you as a human being.
Sure,
you know? But like, at least for me, I'm still trying to get
That's pretty funny.
I'm trying to...
Because I probably had a bad set the night before. I was probably just talking to myself there. Like, oh, God.
Because like, for me, like I've only been doing comedy for a couple months now, and like, I just don't think I'm funny. Like the only thing that like confirmed I was like, okay, I'm certifiably funny was like, okay, first like getting in this program.
Sure.
Like I'm sure there's like some admission stuff.
Right. You can't be like a complete maniac.
And I got the scholarship for this semester, the Joe Curtis creative writing. And when I got it, I was like, oh my God, this is like crazy. I'm like, so someone like picked me out. Yeah. But do you ever feel that, the self-doubt like creep in? You've been doing comedy for a long time, like 14 years, was it?
More than that at this point, because I moved to Toronto probably 14 years ago.
Okay.
And then I had been doing it. So I started in 2006 in Calgary. Yeah. And over the course of 3.5 years, I did stand-up 70 times. So you're not really actually like improving when you're doing it that rarely, especially me. I was like petrified all the time. And like, and sometimes there'd be like 6-month gaps between the two shows. You know what I mean? You're not improving when you're only doing it once every 6 months. Yeah. I was doing improv too, and I was doing theater. So it's like, it's other types of comedy, but I only did stand-up 70 times. But yeah, to go back to your question, yeah, like in terms of doubts, I only had it a couple of times when I was at Humber, because I studied at Humber as well.
Yeah.
I would bomb at this place at Bathurst College. This is very Toronto stuff. Sorry for all of our Fijian listeners. And then I would go down to Queen and because I lived here on campus, I took the streetcar all the way back. And there was a couple of times when I was like, what the hell am I doing? I don't know, man. I don't know. But then you rewrite, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, they're right, though. This thing about ladybugs is stupid. What am I doing? Ladybugs isn't the funniest insect. Obviously, praying mantis is, or whatever. Okay, and then I try praying mantis the next day, and it gets a laugh. Oh, my God, I was right.
Yeah.
Sweet, okay. So that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's like, good point. And nobody's ever been like, I guess it was a little bit of a delusion, too, that it's like, nobody was like, you're not funny, and therefore you can't work, I suppose, as like a comedian.
Yeah.
Because also, let's not forget, the funniest people on the planet are not marketably funny in terms of like I'm sure you have friends that you grew up with and you're like, that was the funniest person on the planet. But if I put them in front of a crowd, they would shit their pants. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking of all my buddies that I grew up with in high school that were like so funny, but they couldn't, if you put them in front of people, they would freeze, or you know what I mean? They couldn't be comedians, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
They couldn't be like funny at a time. It's hard to be a comedian. You have to be funny in a certain way.
And marketable as
right?
well.
Yeah.
Right? Because you were mentioning earlier in class, you should be, like, we had a talk with Howie Mandel.
That was cool.
And you were saying how, like, be the best marketable version of yourself.
Yeah.
I've checked out your comedy, you know? And,
okay, I hope it's all right.
No, it's great.
Yeah, okay.
But I tend to notice that you are mainly clean. Mm-hmm. Is that because of the marketability of yourself?
Sure, yeah. Like, I didn't... it was always kind of a bummer. Like, I saw it happen in Calgary, actually. I'm thinking of one specific guy who... we were all in a big group, and then a headliner came up, hey man, I'm going to Cranbrook, BC, and I need some opener. I need somebody to do 15 minutes. And this guy, who had been around forever, he was like, I can do it. And he had been doing like 30s. He's totally qualified to do 15 minutes. He goes, it's 15 clean. And the guy was like, I'm sure I could do it. And then it's like, do you have 15 clean? And the guy went, actually, can I say... fisting a nun?
Yeah.
It's like, no. Can I say took a shit on her face? No. Oh, crap. I don't know if I do, actually. And it was kind of neat to see that kind of rug get pulled out on it. That opportunity that was like so close to, he could have made some money. He could have gone on the road with this headliner. But no, he was actually unqualified. So that's why I'm like, whenever I'm writing, I'm like, try to make... things, because I just don't want that moment to go, I actually don't have as much material as I thought. It was kind of shitty to watch him go through that. Yeah. It was really sad.
Do you do dirty material or offensive material?
Because life is dirty, unfortunately. So I didn't want to avoid it entirely, because funny things happen that had negative or dirty context.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want to not talk about this, but I just do it where it's allowed.
Not as often.
I guess, or whatever. Yeah. I'm rarely
like... Salto's?
Sure, a place like Salto would be but is that even a place? It's a restaurant, so I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't think being dirty at Salto is a good idea necessarily. But yeah, damn near every bar or club or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure. But if the context of the place is set up properly, I can be dirty there. I have done like exclusively like dark comedy shows.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is like very kind of unlike me, but I got it. You know what I mean? If you need me to do 10 minutes at a dark comedy festival, I got the act. There was a show in Calgary called Going to Hell Sundays.
Oh, yeah?
So on Sundays, man, God's day. Fuck it. And I had a really fun 10 minutes, and everybody was like, I don't hear you do this often. I was like, it's there. I can. And then I got my money, and I got out of there.
Yeah. There's this thing that I just, like, been Googling about for comedy. Mm-hmm. It was talking about how, like, if for a joke, there's always a butt of the joke. It's either... like someone or yourself. Mm-hmm. And you gave me an assignment of like can you do 5 minutes at like a place where you can't offend people?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, it's only self-deprecating stuff. And I've noticed like a lot of your things were like, oh, I'm like your poor bit.
Yeah.
It's like self-deprecation. Do you ever do like offensive comedy, or what is your take on being offensive? Do you know? Do you think that's true though?
About
like,
what? That
there's always a butt of the joke?
No, probably not. I can't really think. The problem is I can't give you an example of a joke that has no victim in it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's somebody who's getting affected by something.
Yeah. It's always like
really
punching up to something. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, right. That's good point.
That's a victim.
Like, yeah, it's a victim, but it's somebody with power. Who cares? Yeah, are we really upset?
Or, it's like just a group of like rich people. I guess you could just like punch up
that's
on rich
who I'm
people.
punching up. I'm often making fun of myself or some mistake that I made or something like that, or people that believe this kind of thing. Like, if you want to talk about dirty or whatever, I'm working on this thing about uncircumcised penises. But the whole point is that if you make a penis erect, is it really that bad anymore? You know what I mean?
Oh, because it just like looks the same.
Yeah, at this point, I don't really know a lot about dicks or whatever. Yeah, but and so is that punching down on people that believe that uncircumcised penises are gross? Is that the butt of the joke? You know what I mean? Like, that's a...
How about dudes with, like, uncircumcised penises? Are you roasting them?
No, I'm one of them.
Oh, you're one of them? Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
How about circumcised penis guys? Then are they the butt?
No, not necessarily. The people that criticize uncircumcised penises,
okay,
those people, I guess, would be the butt of that joke. If you wanted to find a victim, people that make fun of uncircumcised penises, those people are wrong.
Yeah.
I guess that's like... a victim, if you want to find a victim in that bit.
Yeah. So you mentioned you're alumni of this program, but before that you were doing engineering at University of Calgary, right?
Yeah.
So what was your experience transitioning? Because you...
What a funny word. Sorry, it's such an association with something else.
I guess,
Coming out of my butterfly.
Did you feel like a closeted engineer?
A closeted engineer?
Closeted artist?
Comedian. Yeah, kind of. And I don't mean to like knock engineers or whatever, everybody that I studied with, but I was like 100% kind of in the wrong place. And I felt it, So I studied engineering from 2004 to 2008 at the University of Calgary. And the reason why, I guess I'm going to punch down on like, socially, it's so crazy that it's like, when you were like 12, was your family like, hey, what are you going to do with your life?
Yeah, and they're just like...
and you're like, I don't know, I'm 12.
Asians, it's like doctors or nurses.
Yeah, right? Oh, you better be a doctor or a nurse.
Yeah.
And it's like, can't I just like kick a ball? I'm 12 years old.
Yeah, just do whatever.
But also study in school or whatever. It's good to learn and whatever. But why do I have to decide my entire life right now?
Yeah.
First of all, you would never trust a 12-year-old to do anything else. We don't let kids vote.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are we giving them their whole life? So when you're also in such a narrow-minded society, that it's like, the only thing you could be is a doctor or a nurse. So it's like, well, I guess I'll be a doctor or a nurse. You don't even think that another world is even available to you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I even went into engineering, because it was like...
Did your parents tell you to do it, or is it...
I found it, sort of, and I was like, this seems like something I would be good at and could do. This seems kind of interesting. It's called geomatics engineering. It's the study of spatially related data. Okay. So GPS and all that. That all depends on that kind of thing. Yeah. And... inertia systems and stuff, whatever. And so as soon as I started doing it, I was like, I have no interest in this at all. What the hell? Oh, crap. And then I had a real panic of what the hell am I going to do? Because I can't do this the rest of my life.
Did you realize that while you were in school?
Yeah, like 2 months in. So probably like November of 2004.
But you finished the program still?
So here's what happened. Yeah, then I was in hell. I was doing community theater. And I fucking loved it. Yeah. I was so in love with it. And... a girl I was dating at the time went, Mark, Jesus, you hate every minute of this. And she said, you know what you should do? As soon as you finish this engineering degree, you got to do some sort of like theater diploma or something, just so you can fucking live with yourself, because you hate this. And I was like, oh, she's right. And then through this other insane story, I was like, if I was to do a theater degree or something, where should I go to do it? And he went, Toronto, man, entertainment capital of Canada. And I went, oh yeah, because let's not forget, how fucked is this? Not once had I even thought about leaving Calgary. I guess you could do that.
Yeah.
No one I knew Because it's like, yeah, you go to study at the University of Calgary as engineering. It's right there. The geomatics department is right there. It's like, my grandpa lived across the street.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I could just do this, whatever. It takes a lot to break the mold of like, no, everyone, I'm not doing this. It takes like a special kind of guy. It takes a special kind of mindset to be like, I know, like, here's something I talk about a lot. In grade 12, I did, or the 12th grade for my American viewers. I was in advanced placement physics or whatever.
Yeah.
And had a good time, or whatever. What am I talking about? I was in advanced placement physics. That's what it was called. And literally the guy would talk, and I hope you catch how crazy this is. He would go, so this is an equation, blah, 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 blah. Next year when you're in engineering, they'll teach you where this equation comes from, but for now, blah, blah, blah. And did you notice something there?
He's just like, he's expecting you to come back?
That's absolutely the expectation, that next year you're going to be in engineering.
Yeah.
So again, it takes a special kind of person to be like, no, I'm not doing that, in fact. Like, it's like another hurdle to get over.
Yeah.
So it's like, I might as well do engineering. Everybody's telling me to do it or something. And so then this guy was like, you should move to Toronto. And then I Googled, Toronto theater schools, and Humber College came up, and Humber College specifically has a theater program, but then on Google it highlighted as well the comedy program.
Yeah.
And that's when it was like, it was like, do you remember Dory from Finding Nemo?
Okay.
When she remembers everything finally. She's got all the flashes coming on.
Yeah.
It was always comedy. It's always what I wanted to do. I just didn't think that it was a... And then you're reading the descriptions, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the business of comedy. You can... Oh yeah, it's like a thing... It's a whole business. It's a. Oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
I was like looking at all the classes, and then I got so excited. But I was getting some financial help. I had scholarships, but I had some financial help to be an engineer. And then from my grandpa, and he was like, no, I won't pay for this. No.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's totally fair. And so I had already passed 3 of 8 semesters that were brutal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't want that to go to waste, I guess, sort of. And I kind of did the math. I was like, well, I could either drop out of school now and fucking flip burgers for years, because I wanted to pay for Humber before coming to it.
Oh, okay, I see.
To have all the money. So that when I was here, I don't have to think about anything. I just do comedy all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's a bummer, unfortunately, that people are like, yeah, I would go do that show, but I got to work at Loblaws. Ugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't want that. And
I wanted like a big piggy bank.
Big fucking whack of cash that I don't. So I can just go and do comedy all the time. And so when I moved to... So that's what happened. I was like, well, I guess I could just quit university and flip burgers and then make that money. Or I can finish university. I've already done the hardest 3 semesters because it got so much easier after that. And then work as an engineer for like 16 months or whatever and make a huge pocket of like that I don't have to think about money while I'm at Humber College. And that's what I chose to do.
Yeah?
And it worked out miraculously because I worked for an engineer for like 10 months and then the recession happened and then everybody lost their jobs.
Oh, okay. So it was kind of like perfect timing.
It was a miracle. Had I graduated the next year, I would have been able to get a job.
Oh, yeah.
Because the recession, all the pipelines, Alberta got hit hard, man.
Yeah.
The price of oil went down.
In 2008? Like the
2009. Yeah.
Oh, 2009?
Yeah. There was also in the States, there was the financial crisis and stuff. Yeah. It was a bad time.
Do you find Calgary to be more narrow-minded? Because I lived there for like 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was doing social media marketing and everyone who was surrounded by me, I don't know if this was like the Calgary mindset or if it was just like the bubble I was in. They were so like, they were like, I don't know. They were so closed off to anything. There's this guy I used to do MMA with. He knew a couple comics. Do you know him by any chance, Russ? He knew like Brian Callen. You know, like the Brian Callen, Brandon Schaub. He knew those guys. He knew Theo Vaughn. Muteki Strength. He like. Did you know him at all? No.
I saw Russ. Was Russ a comic in the end?
No,
or was he just a fighter
was like
guy?
a fighter.
Okay.
He was.
Brian Callen sounds familiar. I feel like I should know that name.
Isn't that like the guy from The King and the Sting? Or not The King and the Sting. It's like Brandon Schaub and his friend Brian Callen.
I see that name in print.
I
feel like I should know who that is.
And my boss, he was like, I was like telling him my ideas of like trying to be funny and like making videos. He's like, your ideas are shit. No one wants to listen to a 22-year-old. And I was like, this is like the fucking worst thing ever. Like I just felt like, at least in Calgary.
Yeah.
Was it like that in Calgary or do you think it was like your own personal family experience?
No. It was a very Calgary
It's like just oil, like to get into
sort of, and it was like money. Yeah, it was just like, even as a design structurally as a town, it's like not conducive for art and all that kind of stuff. And the idea, here's a great Alberta story. One time, I was doing a gig. I want to say it was like Lethbridge or no, it could have. I don't know. Somewhere close to oil. It had to have been north. And we did the show. It's fine, or everybody's, it's a jumping place, and we get to stay at the hotel attached to the gig or whatever. And so the next day, though, it's like, or we get ready basically the night before. We go, ooh, there's breakfast included. That's exciting. Right on. But it says, Jesus Christ, breakfast is served from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. I'm not going to be there for that. That's crazy. That's so early. I'm not going to wake up. So we go to front desk. And I go, is there any leeway there at all? Is there any flexibility? And they go, don't worry, sirs. This happens all the time. We'll happily serve you breakfast at 4:30 in the morning. That's the direction they thought.
What?
Because people are up at that hour, and they're like, I can't wait until 5 a.m. I got to be on the construction site by 5 a.m.
Oh.
So it's like, that was the direction. That's the mentality, is like, we got to work and work and work. And then, so I was working with all sorts of people like that like one time I was working construction, and this guy, he hated it. He really hated every day of his life. And I go, how the hell did you even end up here? What happened? And he was like, well, I bought a truck. So I got this job to pay off the truck. And then as I was paying off the truck, I bought a house.
Oh,
and so now I got to pay off the house. And I was like, hold on, but why did you buy a truck? Like, why did you do any of these things? He's like, huh? Like, it's just kind of, he didn't even think about, you just got to buy a truck or something. Isn't that something you do?
Yeah. It's
an early to bed town because everybody's got to wake up really. I was just telling the story. I had a 10 p.m. show once in Calgary, and a guy was like, are you fucked? I can't go to your show. 10 p.m. Are you crazy? I go to bed at 9. I got to be up at 5 a.m. I'm like, ugh.
And the sun sets at like 5 p.m. as well, like
in the wintertime. Oh yeah,
in the
for
wintertime.
Sure,
yeah. I asked you a couple questions before we started the podcast.
Yes.
My vague questions.
Are these questions you ask everybody?
Yeah.
That is great. All right. These questions are wild.
What theme are you going through in this phase of your life? You're talking about exploration. What are you trying to explore right now? Like, in what sense would you say?
So, like, literally just doing other things because you're not so frantically panicked about your career.
Oh, okay. So this is not career related at all.
No, that's what I mean. The exploration. So, before the pandemic, I was like nonstop. Yeah, for probably 2009 to 2019.
Yeah.
It was like, do as much comedy as you can do all the time. First of all, I loved it. I was happy to do that. But if some like weird mic, you finish some show at
2
8.
a.m.
Well, no, you finish a show that starts at 8. Yeah, it's like 9:30. Okay, well, I know that I can. There's like I'm set to do this other 10 p.m. one that I get, and then it's 11:30, and I get out of that 10 p.m. show, and then somebody goes, there's a mic at down the street that goes on to like 2 a.m. I go, yeah, let's see if I can do it. Let's squeeze on. I don't know. Which is like kind of crazy. Like you don't have. Did you really need to squeeze on that third mic or whatever? But I did also notice that it was making me better. You know what I mean? I was getting better at comedy. I liked doing it. And so then just before the pandemic, my buddies were like, "Let's do an all-inclusive in Cuba."
Oh yeah.
I was gone for a week. A week without doing comedy. Jesus Christ. And I was like, really?
You can't do it in the lobby?
Yeah, right? Yeah, I was honestly thinking of like bringing my laptop and then writing in the morning and then being on the beach with my friends or whatever. You know what I mean? But eventually I was like, I guess let's try. You know what I mean? Let's see if I can go a week without doing comedy. And I was fine. You know what I mean? Like, it was more than okay. And then the pandemic happened, and then things opened up again or whatever, and I was happy to do it. But then in the summer of 2022, my girlfriend's like best friend got married in France. So let's go to France and see her. But that's 2.5 weeks. Oh my God, 2.5 weeks without doing comedy. And I survived that too. And I was like, oh, I think I'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like, so now if I can go 2 months without doing comedy, just internally, or like I won't have a panic attack in doing it or something. What else could I be doing? That's kind of cool. And my girlfriend and I are looking into like, could you go to a place like Mexico and buy, or Cuba or something, and buy property? That'd be kind of cool to have like a winter home. And some of these lots are like 20 grand. You know what I mean? Some of these plots of land in Portugal. And well, let's go down there and explore that or something. But then going a month without performing, I think I'll be okay. So that's what I'm exploring now, is kind of other things, taking time off once a week to dedicate to just like not performing. It's not going to kill me, as I'm realizing. This is what I've been exploring. Because for years and years and years and years, I never would have even thought about that.
Do you think you can do that at the early stages? Because I feel like I'm you right now, and like just going, you know? And like, if I take a break, I even told you about like, is it even worth pursuing like having a relationship at this stage when I should like just like be fucking grinding, hustling all the time? You know what I mean?
I don't really know, because I was also really, really bad at it.
Yeah.
But I was noticing improvement every time I did it, but I was slow to learn and stuff, and I was like, so I kind of needed to grind. In my opinion, I needed to do that for like years and years and years.
Yeah.
And so, not that I think, what did I say about the relationship thing? Was I like, you should probably try to find love?
Like you were talking about how like, if you go like somewhere for like 40 minutes away, like they'll pay for the hotel, you can bring him. It's like
that's
vacation.
Cool.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But those kinds of gigs take time to get. You know what I mean? Like when you first start off in your career, you're like, you're not making any money, and so bringing this other person, like you're sleeping on like a carpet, you know what I mean? Like,
you know what I mean?
But that's even at this stage of my career. I did a thing last May in Arizona, and I was like sleeping on a guy's carpet, and I was like, thank God my girlfriend's not here for this. This is a nightmare. So and sleeping on couches and stuff, and it's not glamorous or whatever. But even at this stage in your career, I'm sure randomly something glamorous does happen. I got put up in some crazy hotel in Ottawa that as soon as I walked in, they were like, you must be in the wrong place. And I was like, I'm doing the convention. And they were like, what? Okay, here's your room key. Like I shouldn't have. I really did not belong there based on attire.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? I couldn't afford to be there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But had I had a girlfriend at the time, I would have brought her to that. That's nuts. You know what I mean? Now it happens to me a little more frequently that my girlfriend can come out to a trip, or we just went to Cobble Beach, Ontario. It was a lot of fun. And she was in the pool when I was on stage or whatever. Like, so she gets to enjoy herself in that respect, and I can that's a fun little outing and a treat. That she comes to. But it's also difficult because it's like, it's dependent on
like, should I be grinding right now? You know what I mean?
At this point in your career, like, just don't close doors of if some person's interested in you and you like them. But I wouldn't necessarily quit comedy for this person, unless you want to. I don't know. Like, do whatever the hell you want to do. I don't know.
I don't know. It's like a weird balance, I'd say. Mm-hmm. I don't know, because like I'm a workaholic as well. You know, I got this tattoo right here.
Right. Work harder.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand like your mentality, but you're exploring now. So what things are you exploring? You're exploring like buying different properties, or like different activities.
I don't know anything about it. Making a home life, living in a house that you even like look at. Until like a little bit ago, like I lived in a basement.
4 white walls.
Yeah, kind of. I don't care. Yeah, now I'm starting to get like
plants.
An eye. Yeah, for like, ooh, curtains. That's cool. Yeah. And look at this shade of curtain. Oh, that really pops the wall or whatever. You know what'd be cool? It'd be neat if this was an accent wall. And which I know what that is now. You know what I mean? Like 5 years ago, I would not have known what paint is. You know what I mean? Who gives a shit? Because it wasn't important to me at all. And I don't know. It took time away from what I like doing, which was writing and trying to get gigs.
But even those like little explorations, I feel like it's like stuff you can put into your material, because like a wide-lived life, I don't know if that's the correct term, a life living widely is like Werner Herzog, he's one of my filmmaking inspirations. He's like, instead of like trying to do Indiegogo campaigns to finance your films, he's like, work as a bouncer at a sex club, or a warden in a lunatic asylum, or a machine operator at a slaughterhouse, you know, like
weird gigs.
Work these like weird gigs so like you have life experience to draw from, because like filmmaking and writing comes from like real life.
Yeah, you do have to talk about something. Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen it happen a bunch where people's tweets and jokes were like all about comedy. You know what I mean? Like if it was all that you were doing. But like even that was a little risky. But you'd be smart enough to know like, oh, normal people don't know what this is. But that's another thing, though, too, that you can get yourself in trouble with is exclusively doing, like, open mics or only doing the same kinds of shows for years and years and years. Which is what I talk about in class, being like one time I had a guy, like, 5 years ago, pre-pandemic. He was like, Mark, I'm fucking killing it this week. I'm at this place on Sunday, this place on Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Isn't that great? Isn't that a great week? And I was like, those are all the same show, though. You know what I mean? They're all like basements
same style.
with the same kinds of people. I'm sure this person came to all of them, and he was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I was like, you should throw in like a coffee shop gig, or throw in a club gig, or throw in like an old folks home or something. You like do something different. Because, if you're doing the same fucking show in front of the same people, you're not even necessarily growing as a comedian, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you might not know because you're like, I'm working every day. No, but you're limiting your work.
Yeah. My second question I asked you, just going on, I have it like timed perfectly, like 15, 30, 45.
Oh, really? Are we doing okay?
They were at 30 right now.
Wicked.
So
Let's keep going.
Is there anything you're currently struggling with at the moment? You're talking about forward thinking.
Sure.
Being dissatisfied.
So that's the thing my girlfriend and I talk about all the time is, like, all I ever wanted to do was live off of comedy.
Yeah.
Which I did, I guess. Not too comfortably, but I started doing in 2014. I was like, holy crap, I'm living off entertainment. I don't have to do a single thing I don't want to do. I used to work in construction. I used to work as a tour guide. I used to work in a gun silo. I used to work as an engineer. And I used to work as an usher at a theater. I hated all those jobs. I didn't want to be there. Now every minute of my day is spent doing something I want to do. And it's like entertainment-based or comedy-based at least. And that's crazy. Wow, how lucky am I? And I worked my ass off to get to that point. Now that I'm here, I'm like, oh, now what? So, but I guess I'm supposed to be dissatisfied and I should continue to grind harder and bigger or something like that. But sure, I guess, like, through the medium, particularly stand-up comedy, it's like, okay, I'm lucky enough I middle a lot for yucks gigs or something. But then occasionally, I'll do 40 minutes for this other person or whatever, or like 30 minutes for this like wacky bar show or whatever. That's what I mean. And but that's cool to do as well. And I'm like growing. That still is like growth. But so basically, I'm bad at now making like goals, like objective goals, because the only goal I ever had, I got, and it doesn't. In my head, I'm like, it doesn't get better than this. I didn't even want anything else.
You don't care about, like, at least for me, maybe I'm just like a capitalistic pig.
Sure.
Like being a millionaire through comedy, like Howie Mandel, 60 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah, valued at 60
million. Do you ever think
million.
about that? Like, that's the next.
But even
goal.
Howie said it, that he was like, I'm sure Howie doesn't even know that the number's 60 million. I'm sure he doesn't even.
Yeah,
he's doing
like
what he wants to do every day.
Yeah.
Which is what he talked about on Tuesday, that he was like, he's just got ideas and he gets to do them and he's so pumped. Yeah, we talked about it this morning of like, I loved what he said about very excited about today's project. Whatever that, like one of them was like, I want to make a TikTok or whatever the hell he said.
Yeah.
Like, all right. He's like so pumped about that. Today was interesting for me. I got to do this. I got to teach earlier today. I get to do stand-up at the Comedy Bar after this tonight. Mm-hmm. And the jokes I'm doing at the Comedy Bar are kind of unique, and they're different because they're not from the album or something. They're like basically I wanted to try these 6 jokes in this particular order to see if it worked as a chunk in that respect or whatever. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
And sure. Oh, you're paying me $60 million for it? Oh, cool. Okay. I don't know.
So money, you don't really care about like money as a achievable, like as a goalpost?
Well, and not necessarily, but as long as I got my house, I got food. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I went to Timmy's this morning. It was great. But that's $7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To get my Timmy's order. And so I can afford that. I had $7 at this stage of my life, or with the career that I have and the money that's coming in. $7 doesn't kill me. It did when I was your age.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old are you? 25?
I'm 24.
4. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Is that when you started as well? 24?
No, I
were you older?
I think I want to say I finished Humber when I was 24.
Okay.
Because I got an engineering degree prior to that, which is insane, by the way, to be 21 and a professional engineer. Whatever, like, that's insane.
So when you were the engineer, you had this like big wad of cash going into comedy, like making zero. Did that like do anything to your psyche?
No, not at all. I was completely prepared for it.
Okay, so you didn't care about like the cut.
And so as soon as I graduated, and we talked about this in another class about making money in comedy, about budgeting yourself and stuff, I figured out, this inflation changed all this, I guess. But at the time, for a long time, it cost me $1,300 a month to stay alive.
Okay.
And that's like including like rent and phone and whatever. Okay, if I stole bread half the time, you know what I mean? Like I can do it. So then I just had that number in my head. And so like talking about like $7 being like the make or break. Like one time I had made, so I'm trying to make $1,300 a month. And so it was like the 31st of whatever month, and I was on this comedy show, and a guy gave me $20 Canadian, and it took me to like $12.98.
Yeah.
Oh no, I got so close to making 10. And then a guy he just came from the States or something, and he was like, fucking American money. For some reason, he didn't want the American 20 that was in his wallet.
Okay.
So he gave me the American 20, and we traded 20s or whatever. Because of the value of the American 20, I went and changed it, and it carried me over to whatever the hell that number became, $23 or something. And then that month, I made $1,301.
Nice.
And I was like, yeah! So like in those days, $7 did make or break me.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't. So it's like, I'm just doing kind of what I want to do all the time. Now, obviously, if it's like I'm aspiring to do a gig that pays more than another gig or something, like potentially, probably, and unless it's like, we'll pay $600 to, fart in a bucket, or, like something that's not even entertainment or something. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of high paid gigs. I think part of the problem too is that I came from engineering where I was making tons of money, but I hated it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think maybe in that time, in that era, I was like, it's not about the fucking money.
Yeah.
Here's an example I used to give all the time. If I gave you a briefcase with $30 million in it, but you couldn't spend it, you wouldn't be happy. You wouldn't be like, oh, that money is all that I ever wanted. Yum, 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 yum. I just wanted the feel of money. That's what I love. You don't actually want money. You want the things that money can get you, I guess. So what would you do with $30 million?
I just need to live.
I just need to be alive.
Same thing as you.
So in the big picture, it's not about money. It's about those things. And then, okay, what are those things to you?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like, I think it's because I have a big ego, man. I gotta be honest. Like,
well, that's the other thing. Maybe it's not ego, or it's not money that you're looking for. It's like success or something. But what the hell is success in terms of having your own show or something, having a YouTube channel that blows up or something?
Yeah.
Like you post an interview like this and it's seen by 30 million people or something. Like what? That has nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
Money isn't actually what you want.
What does success mean to you right now at this stage?
Well, at the stage, it's like
would you already consider yourself successful?
I consider myself successful, but obviously there's other things. So now, I guess, from your previous question of like forward thinking, it would be great. So I got to headline the Toronto Yuck Yucks. It would be cool to headline the Alberta Yuck Yucks where I grew up or whatever. The Calgary
it's like
one.
A full circle.
And the Edmonton one. Yeah, that would be really cool.
You like bring everyone you used to know.
Kinda,
you bring your grandfather.
Yeah. That would be kind of a cool thing. But again, that's kind of out of my hands.
Yeah.
Because it's dependent on other people. And if they say no, okay, that's cool. I'll just keep doing. Like I got to do something that's within my own control.
Yeah.
So. But I have another idea. I have jokes that will go in my head on my next album. It's exciting to think about the next album. Because I thought about the first album for like 15 years. Yeah. And it's like, oh, what the hell else could I even put together? And then work on that for years and years and years. And then make that album really good whenever that comes out.
Yeah.
So I'm like forward thinking in that respect. I would consider myself successful, but I'm not done, I guess, with like being a comedian.
Yeah. So it took you 15 years to make your album Happy Pappy. Tell me about the process with that. Like, what was it like reiterating the jokes, coming up with the jokes? Great. I have a bunch of stuff from your album, as notes. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, we can talk about some of it. Being happy. We'll talk about that. It's like the very first thing. Yeah. Happy Pappy.
Yeah.
How are you always like so happy? Like, what does happiness even mean to you?
I don't know where it comes from or how it happens. I just did it. You focus on it, I suppose. You you kind of train yourself. I don't think this is going on my next album, but it's pretty crazy that you can almost kind of train yourself to focus on positive elements of shitty situations or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, don't be dismissive. That's the other problem. Like, you can't like ignore bad things. So like one time I got cheated on. And and she told me or whatever, and I can't believe this is my completely natural reaction, that I can't believe I was able to focus on the positive of it. I sat, she told me, and I sat with this horrible news, and then I legitimately went, well, I'm glad you had a good night. I was able to like see the positive in this still or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. Like, and it was, that was a natural occurrence from, there's always like kind of positive elements or whatever. And again, don't dismiss bad things though, because you don't want to repress negative emotions, which is what everyone is like. Is that what you're doing? And I'm like, you're going to like blow up a school one day? I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't, like, I know that bad things are bad. Like, so, but when you ask like, what is happiness? It's like, I guess maybe the fucking satisfaction of doing things that you want to do all the time.
Yeah, and it's also from what you're saying, it seems like it's a choice. Happiness is a choice.
Yeah, there's an old expression of like happiness is an inside job.
So it's an inside job.
Yeah, it's not dependent on anybody else.
Yeah.
Right? Now, again, that doesn't mean that like somebody who's in a war-torn area is like, come on, buddy, turn that frown upside down, buddy. Like, again, that would be an external thing. But if somebody in a war-torn place was like, man, sun's warm today, or something, it's like, we can't be mad at that guy.
Yeah, of course.
Can't be like, you're wrong for enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah.
Like, it's in them, whatever. But then, happiness is an inside job, and that nobody else can, like, really, people can try to cheer you up, but it is you that gets happy in the end.
Yeah. Has this ever happened to you? Like, I've had a similar thing, like, with the girls. We had a situationship, and then we're having this deep, intimate conversation. Like, we're talking about something serious, and then I'm just, like, making jokes. And then she's like, Joe, why can't you take anything seriously? Why you gotta make a joke out of everything?
Yeah.
Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, that does. It's because you hate tension. It's because you hate negative feelings.
Yeah, but like,
you're trying to make a light situation, and hopefully all these negative feelings will go away.
But it's not bad to do, is it?
It would be bad, I think. That's a great question. I'm not a therapist, but I would imagine. I think, first of all, it would be really bad if you were ignoring what this other person's saying and dismissing what they're saying by being like, they're like, I'm just having a hard time. Hard like a penis, man? It's like, just listen to me, man. So, and also I think it would be bad if you were like trying to make a light out of a situation to then dismiss it. You know what I mean? So and I can imagine, I've maybe even caught myself do this a bunch of times of like, now that I've made a joke and the mood is light, the thing that we were upset about, this problem, is gone, isn't it? And that's not correct. Like, we do have to fix this problem. Yeah. So I think that would, to answer your question, that would be bad.
Yeah. But your whole thing is about trying to turn bad situations funny.
Sure.
You worked for a company called...
Wow, is that in there?
Where is it? Data entry. I have like a bunch of stuff, but it was like Kawartha... Do you know what I'm talking about? Kawartha.
What the hell?
It was like this
LinkedIn, bro. What are you reading?
It was like you worked with a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Stand up for student well-being.
Yeah. That one.
School. Yeah. Okay.
You helped them create stand-up sets with Crystal.
Yes. So that company's gone through a bunch of iterations of names or whatever.
Oh, okay,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Kawartha, what the hell is that?
Yeah, like on the website, it was like Kawartha, Ontario, or something.
Oh,
like
okay, I can imagine.
What was your experience doing that?
Well, that's dope.
Even turning negative experiences into positive, helping kids.
Well, this is crazy. Yeah. So the point of this, if I can plug this too, I guess now it's called laughmore.ca. Go to that website. I think that's what it is now. For a while, it was called Happiness at School, and then it was called Stand Up for Student Wellbeing. And the whole point of it is you go into schools and you teach kids how to do stand-up, and a lot of it has to do with like well-being and mental health and this kind of stuff of like basically a big thing was like turning problems into punchlines. And Lord knows these kids have like pretty wild lives, and they talk about their families and whatever. They found me through Humber. So I started working with them in 2014, maybe, I think. And so, yeah, you go into these schools, and these kids have, like, kind of crazy problems and stuff. But then what's tough about it is, like, how to make this a joke or whatever. And so, like, one time a kid... this was kind of an insane situation, and maybe I've heard jokes like this since, but basically this kid grew up in Scarborough with no dad.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know who my dad is. And a lot of the kids in that school had that similar situation. And then I was like desperately trying to think of like what to do, or what is there a joke in this or whatever. Basically, I go, because it's a jam too. It's like a joke jam with all the students, all the other like 12-year-olds. I go, well, one interesting thing is your dad could be anybody. And then a kid goes, your dad could be Drake. And everybody goes, yeah. And that was like a positive spin on a tough situation or whatever. So like one cool thing that's about that job is like trying to find positive outcomes to these kids' situations. And it's like on the spot too. This kid's like, here's my crazy life. You help me make this funny.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, okay. So from a comedy writing point of view, it's a great like exercise.
Yeah. Do you do that with your own comedy? Is like your comedy about like the tragedies?
Yeah, a lot of mistakes I've made or stupid things or whatever, and at least a lot of my bits have like kind of morals or whatever. It's like a sketch, right? It's got to have like a blow line. The last line of the bit's got to be the funniest part of it and conclude it. So it's like a lot of my bits end with like, this is how it should be, or this is what I've learned from it, or a lot of my endings are like, at least this is the case. At least I was able to see the positive. My one bit about my birthday. I'm born on December 26th. Yeah, I got a towel when I was 9 from everybody. My family, I don't know. It's like, and hey, there's a positive side. Hey, now I have something to dry the tears. You know, and because I loved it as a 9-year-old, I was like, this is funky.
Okay, it didn't actually hurt you when you were a kid?
No, I thought it was. And it's like, hey, there's always whatever a towel. Sure, this is cool. Always a silver lining.
Yeah, that's for sure. The last question I asked you was the ultimate truth you've realized.
Yeah, what the hell does that mean? What have other people said? Like, I don't even understand. You've asked other people this.
Like Alex, another comic. He said nothing matters.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He has thyroid cancer, so he realized like.
Sure.
He could do anything now because nothing matters. You know what I mean? Yes. So like he's like.
What do you mean? Like set fire to a police station?
No.
What does he mean?
Well, like he can like fully express his life and be who he is. Like he was telling me.
Why couldn't he have done that earlier?
He's telling me he's super shy.
Before
coming to this program, he's like, this program like really made me like more outspoken.
That rules.
Even like the quietest voice.
He's like a bear.
Yeah. But other people have talked about God. You know, a lot of like everyone just talks about different things. Cheating is not okay. That's like one of them. But that I remember.
That's pretty funny.
I remember. Oh,
the ultimate truth. Okay.
Hunter was like, "I'm not a clown." That's his,
pretty cool.
That was his truth, you know.
Okay.
So when I say truth, because he mentions like not lying.
Yeah.
I guess truth is just
all
like
truth? Yeah.
Truth is like I'm learning truth. Like every time I learn like a truth about myself, like I write it down. Like happiness is a choice is like a big
that
one.
might be one of my truths or whatever. So over the years, that line, happiness is an inside job. I think about that line a lot.
Yeah. But he said nothing happens to you.
Yeah, I guess from a professional point of view, especially in comedy or whatever, it's like nobody's like knocking on your door being like, hey, are there any people in here that want to become famous? I guess when you want to look at it that way. But it's like, you create all your projects, really. You know what I mean? You're the one putting yourself out there and making podcasts and art and videos and jokes and whatever you're doing. Yeah. Nobody's like doing anything. Nothing happens until you do something. So that's kind of where I had no idea what to answer when it came to that question.
So like you're responsible for everything. Like take responsibility for like everything. Every choice.
There's also like, so I used to think too about like everything you do is a result of you wanting to do it, isn't it? Like why the hell? So when I was in engineering, going back, we there's a huge lecture hall. There's like 600 kids, and we passed around this note that said like, "Why are you here?" or "What are you doing here?" or actually no, "What would you rather be doing than be here?"
Oh, okay.
And everybody was like, "On the beach," or whatever, at the movies, or whatever, like other things, or straight up like, "I wish I had another job," or something like everybody. And then one guy wrote, "I want to be here."
Yeah.
One of like 600. It was
Yeah.
insane that was the ratio. That's so bad.
Yeah.
So. I as much as I complained about engineering and as much as I hated it, I did want to do it because I wanted to save up to come here. So you can't fucking complain. I don't know, like, I guess you can sort of complain, but you're here because you do, like my buddy or the guy that I used to work with in construction. Why the hell are you doing this? Well, I bought a truck. Okay. And why? Well, you can't complain about it. Don't you love your truck, I guess, or something? Isn't that... You must like work a 13-hour construction shift and then sit in your truck and be like, yes, like it was all for the truck. Isn't this great? Like nobody made you do anything.
Yeah.
Except for there's obviously circumstances in there where it's like, well,
your parents made you do the thing.
Well, did they? Like, what was the consequence? They were going to kick you out of the house? They were going to black sheep yourself? You could black sheep yourself from your family. That's fine.
Yeah.
But then that sucks. Like, or I'd rather be on good terms with my family and be a doctor. I'd rather be on good terms with my family and be a doctor than be a black sheep and do whatever the hell else I would do. Or something. You know what I mean? Like, those are those choices. You want to be a doctor, don't you? Because you don't want to shit on your parents.
Yeah.
But maybe you do want to shit on your parents. And it's like, my mom teaches at the University of Calgary. She teaches French. And she complains about these meetings. Oh, Mark, these meetings are killing me. And it's like an hour a week, maybe, that you got to be in a meeting. And if you suck it up and deal with this hour, then you can get, money to pay for your car and your home. And you go out for pizza once a week and have a, with dinner this week, let's get a half bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon. So you get to treat yourself to it. And again, you don't have to think about any of this. And all you got to do, the shittiest part of your job, is that you got to sit in a meeting. And if I suffer through this hour-long meeting, I get all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's a decent deal. That's a choice. Yeah. Again, if the meeting is so bad that none of this shit's worth it, then get the fuck out of there. Yeah, you can quit this job. You know what I mean? But make that choice. Understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's my truth. Understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Understand why you're doing the thing you're doing.
Yeah.
I have a GNed, and my teacher, they're doing Friedrich Nietzsche.
Yeah.
After
some philosophy class you're taking.
And one of the questions that Nietzsche asks is like, if you had the chance to live again, would you do it? But the catch is like you have to live the exact same life you're living right now. And he used to only teach comedy kids, and he was just like, because it was like cohorts.
Oh, the gen ed teacher?
Yeah.
I thought you meant Nietzsche. I was like,
no, that'd be crazy. He was just like, most of the comedy kids, the acting kids, they say, yes, they'll do it again.
Really?
But like the regular gen ed people, like with everybody, like 2 out of like the 60 do.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What cool stats.
Yeah, because you, and it's the whole thing of you mentioning, and he even said himself he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't live the life again. But it goes back to your point of like, most people are not living up to their values. You know what I mean? So that's why.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah.
That's why they don't they live this kind of life of like, I wouldn't do it again. But it seems like would you live it again?
I don't know. Not really.
No,
the only reason why is because from like theological point of view, I'm kind of excited about what happens next.
Okay. Yeah.
I already did Marc Hallworth.
But you would
was that guy.
Yeah, I guess.
I had a great time. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For the most part, it was a lot of fun being Marc Hallworth. But I don't know. Also, I'm not done yet. So if I said yes, and then I start here again, I guess. Yeah.
You would restart, but I guess you would have your mind erased.
Yeah.
Reset.
No, that sounds like a waste of time. I already did that. Yeah.
What do you think about what happens after? Because you were talking about
theologically.
Yeah, theologically. Do you believe in heaven, hell? Do you believe in we're ghosts? Do you believe in reincarnation?
No. What I think, this is kind of fun. So. You know how apparently, and don't ruin any of this for me because I like thinking like that.
Yeah,
it kind of helps me when my buddies pass away. And
yeah, of course.
So apparently when you sleep, what's it called? DMT? It's like a chemical or whatever.
Okay, it's
That's
like
what,
when
a
you
dream
when you're about
is.
to die.
Yeah. So when you sleep, it's like a microscopic amount that comes out, and it creates like an 8-hour dream. Like that's what your dreams are. Yeah. Including lucid dreams and stuff. And apparently when you die, it all gets spewed out. So my theory is that is what the afterlife experience is that you're in that DMT.
Like just like forever?
Yeah. Well, there's so much. If a microscopic amount of it made 8 hours of dream, then what could all of it be? Could it be everlasting life? So that's kind of cool. That's an encouraging thought. And you've had lucid dreams or whatever where you make. So that's my thing, is that the afterlife is like a dream where you put. So my afterlife, buddy, is like doing comedy all the time.
Crazy.
Sure, I'll be up in the clouds. I'll be in heaven or something. Sure, I don't know. I'm having a great time. I'm skateboarding everywhere. It's a cloud. It can't really hurt. And I can kind of do the tricks that I want to do, sort of, but I'm not 100% consistent with them, so it's still kind of fun. I'm not just like landing everything all the time. There's still like the challenge of doing it right or whatever and making it look good. I'm skateboarding all the time. My heaven is great. And you're there, buddy. You're there.
DMT gets released 3 times in your life.
Okay.
Like your birth,
really,
your death, and huge like
orgasm.
Like like when you're about to die. Like life. What is it like?
Flashing before your eyes.
You flashing before your eyes.
That's what and people saying go towards the light.
Yeah,
you know I think that's just a bunch of DMT.
Yeah,
and that rules. I think that's pretty fun. Now, obviously, I'm sure there's some scientific explanation that actually proves all of that wrong. But that's what I think the afterlife is, and it's wicked.
Yeah.
And then you put whatever you want there.
Yeah.
So your old grandma who you miss, so you get to see your grandma again.
Yeah.
And you get to see your friends again. You get to put whatever you want. And I think maybe if you want to talk about like heaven and hell, that if you are a bad, immoral person that lives your whole life and you're haunted by guilt or whatever, you put yourself in hell. That's my theory. I don't know. Anyways, whatever. So it's like you're dying and then you're expecting that fire and brimstone or whatever the hell.
Yeah. Still being in this like theological theory thing.
Yeah.
This is the last question I ask people. We got 5 minutes left on the podcast. Right. Do you think there's like a deeper meaning to life or
no?
No, you don't.
Maybe I don't know. No, I don't know.
You don't think there's anything?
No, you're gone. You're here and you're gone. That's cool.
Yeah, we were just like accidentally like life just happened to form,
or that somebody's like coordinating it all, like some sort of god.
Do you think there's anything like that?
Not really. It's an easy. Carlin talks about this, that it's like it's the easy explanation for like who made the sky blue? God made it. Great.
Okay.
Who's your god? Some guy with a big white beard, or is it Vishnu with a head, elephant head? I don't know. Like whatever you want. I think it's just like an easy way to explain to kids.
Yeah.
Why wind breezes through the trees. I don't know. Who cares? But none of it. Like I think it's like 50 billion people or 100 billion people have lived on planet Earth or whatever, and they all came and went, and we don't talk about a lot of them anymore. But they had their lives, and was it for a purpose? No, not really. Like that's fine. I don't think it needs it either. I don't know. I'm happy to be purposeless.
Do you don't think you have like a ultimate purpose? Like would you say you're more purposeless?
I would imagine. Like if you wanted to talk about like I don't know. No, not really. I don't need one. I'm having a good time. I feel love. When I die, people will probably be a little bummed out. 100 years from now, that'll be that. You know what I mean? No one will talk about it, and that's fine. Because we don't talk about people that were alive 100 years ago. You know, not how many people were alive 100 years ago that came and went, and they felt love too, and they had concerns and fears of their own, and laughter. Holy crap! They were laughing and laughing and laughing. That's a great life that a bunch of people had that we don't talk about anymore, and that doesn't make me sad.
Yeah. This is kind of related, but you kind of already answered it. Do you have any advice for people trying to look for purpose? Or would there be nothing? Because I don't know, why are you affiliating, purpose with like a reason to get up in the morning? You know what I mean? Like I worry that someone who doesn't feel purpose will then be like, well, what's the fucking point of getting out of bed? Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. There's fun out there. If you stay in bed all day, you're gonna miss out on
a lot of joys. So maybe the point of life is to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
How's that? That's a purpose.
Yeah.
Go out and enjoy yourself and make the world a better place.
Make the world a better
Currently.
place. That's a great way to end the podcast.
Yeah.
Mark, do you have anything to plug?
Check out my album Happy Pappy on iTunes is the way that I make the most money. Anyway, if you buy it off of iTunes. And to check me out at Hallworth Mark, and there's like stuff going on all over Toronto and Ontario and soon Calgary, I guess. I'm going to Calgary. When does this come out?
Probably Monday.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, if you're in Alberta between like April 23rd and May 2nd or something, May 4th, I'm around for all my Albertan fans. I'd love to see it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And thanks for having me on this thing. I like talking about happiness.
Yeah.
I had no idea what to expect.
Thank you again, Mark, for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you teaching me comedy and being here. Thanks for watching the podcast. Stay on Average Fools. Thanks for watching the podcast. If you're interested in viewing any of my comedy content, I think everyone who works, we're kind of prostituting our bodies in some type of way. What do you think, Conan?
I haven't sucked dick for $5 in like 2 months.
I feel like kids know how to handle themselves better than adults. They go from saying chink and then he'll say like more profanity shit. Play recess and make some glitter shit. Get along at the end of the day. They're doing it right. We need to do it like the kids do and just endorse hate speech. Then you can view it on Patreon for only $5 a month. Also, I'm having an end-of-the-year comedy show called Stand Up, Be Humber on April 15th at Comedy Bar West at 7 p.m. If you're interested, fill out the Google form below. It's first come, first serve. Thanks for watching. Stay on Average Fools.